Hello, my dear students. This is Dr. Ikityagi, and under level law second paper, we are discussing important provisions of the Payment of Wages Act 1936. And under that head today, we'll talk about the section 16, which talks about the single application in respect of claims from unpaid groups. And we'll also talk about the section 25A, payment of undisbursed wages. This is video lecture number 18. Under section 16, single application in respect of claims for unpaid groups. Subsection 1 states that employed persons are said to belong to the same unpaid group if they are born on the same establishment. They are born on the same establishment, and deductions have been made from their wages in contravention of this act for the same cause and during the same wage period or periods, or if their wages for the same wage period or periods have remained unpaid after the day fixed by section 5. So section 26 subsection 1 explains the expression unpaid group, where employed persons are said to belong to the same unpaid group if they are born on the same establishment. They are born on the same establishment. Deductions have been made from their wages in contravention of the act for the same cause and during the same wage period or periods, and their wages for the same wage period have remained unpaid after the day fixed under section 50. And section 16 subsection 2 lays down that a single application may be presented under section 15 on behalf or in respect of any number of employed persons belonging to the same unpaid group. And what is same unpaid group? As we have mentioned earlier, that if the employed persons are born on the same establishment, deductions have been made from their wages in contravention of the act for the same reason, same cause, and during the same wage period or periods, and their wages for the same wage period have remained unpaid after the day fixed for the payment or the date fixed by the section 5. And section 16 subsection 2 lays down that a single application may be presented under section 15 on behalf or in respect of any number of employed persons belonging to the same unpaid group, and in such case every person on whose behalf such application is presented may be awarded maximum compensation to the extent specified in section 15 subsection 3 of the act. And subsection 3 states that the authority may deal with any number of separate pending applications presented under section 15 in respect of persons belonging to the same unpaid group as a single application presented under subsection 2 of this section, and the provisions of that subsection shall apply accordingly. And there is a case, state of UP versus presiding officer, payment of wages officer, Varanasi and others. My dear students, you can refer that case. In this case, respondent number 2 to 7 were engaged on daily wage basis in the department of the petitioner, and they were not paid wages from December 1992 to August 1993, and therefore they filed their claim application for wages and penalty under section 15(2), read with section 16 subsection 2 of the Payment of Wages Act before the prescribed authority. Notices were issued to both the parties for appearance on September 28, 1993 before the prescribed authority. but none appeared on behalf of the petitioner. Hence, there was an ex parte proceedings were initiated, and the prescribed authority recorded its finding of the fact that wages were not paid for the period January 1993 to August 1993. And therefore, direction was also issued to the petitioner to make payment to workmen of the deducted wages with 2 times penalty. And this direction was challenged before the High Court, and it was held that the petitioner could not succeed in showing sufficient cause for not appearing before the prescribed authority in spite of notice. Further, it did not avail of the alternative remedy of appeal, but choose to file the writ petition. Consequently, it was dismissed. So section 16, subsection 3 lays down that if several applications are pending presented under section 15 by the employees belonging to the same unpaid group, the authority can deal with them as if it was a single application by an unpaid seller. And under section 17, provision for appeal also, and this section provides that an appeal may be preferred from the following orders or directions of the authority. Under this section, under different clauses, an order directing the employer or the person responsible for the payment of wages to refund the deductions wrongfully made or to pay delayed wages. Clause 2 states that an order directing payment of compensation to the employee under section 15 subsection 3 and an order imposing penalty whether on the employee or on the employer under section 15 subsection 4. This is third clause. Now we talk about the payment of disbursed wages in case of death of, undisbursed wages in case of death of the employed person under section 25A. So under this section, subsection 25A, as subsection 1, subject to the provisions of the Act, all amounts payable to an employed person as wages shall, if such amounts could not or cannot be paid on account of his death before payment or on account of his whereabouts not being known. Clause A of this subsection 1 state that be paid to the person nominated by him. So the person nominated by the deceased person, that amount to be paid to the person nominated by him in this behalf in accordance with the rules made under this Act. And clause B states that where no such nomination has been made or where for any reason such amounts cannot be paid to the person so nominated, be deposited with the prescribed authority, who shall deal with the amount so deposited in such manner as may be prescribed. So we have seen in this subsection 1 clause A to the person nominated by the deceased person, and clause B nomination if where no such nomination has been made, then means that amount cannot be paid to the person, right, and be deposited with the prescribed authority who shall deal with the amounts, means so deposited in such manner as may be prescribed. Then subsection 2, subsection 2 of this section 25A states that where in accordance with the provisions of subsection 1, all amounts payable to the employed person as wages, clause A states that are paid by the employer to the person nominated by the employed person, right? And B, all these payable to an employed person as wages are deposited by the employer with the prescribed authority, or the employer shall be discharged of his liability to pay those wages. There are certain other rule-making powers under section 26 with the appropriate government, and the state government may make rules to regulate the procedure to be followed by the authorities and courts referred to in section 15 and section 17. This is clause, subsection 1. And subsection 2 state that the appropriate government by notification in the official gazette make rules for the purpose of carrying into effect the provisions of this Act. And under subsection C3, there are certain clauses, and in particular and without prejudice to the generality of foregoing power, rules made under subsection 2 may require the maintenance of such a record, registered, written, and notices. Clause B require the display in a conspicuous place on premises where the employment is carried on. And uh, uh, Clause C state that provide for the regular inspection of the weight measures and weighing machines. Clause D prescribe the manner of giving notice of the days on which wages will be paid. So there are certain clauses under this subsection 3 in the section 26. Then there are certain other clauses up to LB you can see, and clause H state that prescribe the authority competent to approve the purpose on which the proceeds of fine shall be expended. And then subsection 4 of this section 26 state that in making any rule under this section, the state government may provide that a contravention of the rule shall be punishable with a fine which shall not be less than 7 rupees 750, but which may extend to rupees 1500. And one more subsection under section 26, which states that all rules made under this section shall be subject to the condition of previous publication and the date to be specified under clause 3 of section 23 of the General Clauses Act 1897. So there are certain rules where appropriate government may exercise the powers and can make a rule under section 26. These rule making powers are given. So this is all about for today's deliberation, my dear students. You just go through these video, and I believe this will definitely help you. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. Take care. Have a nice time.